Remembering one particular single regular season game in 1997 featuring Jordan, Rodman, NBA Commissioner David Stern, Mutombo, and his cast. There were too many extraordinary and enigmatic events, too much action. This one game needs its own documentary. The game started normally because Dennis was not in the Bulls starting five. Phil Jackson went with Tony Kukoc at forward, deciding that it was a better matchup against the Hawks bigs, and Rodman was coming off his second game since coming back from an 11-game suspension for kicking a cameraman. I covered that cameraman story before, as you know. When Rodman checked in for Kukoc, he began to irritate Christian Laettner and Dikembe Mutombo with his unique brand of defense. With NBA Commissioner David Stern in attendance, Rodman got into an argument with Mutombo to the point they both received a technical foul in the second quarter. And then he and Laettner were whistled for a double foul in the third quarter. With NBA Commissioner David Stern on hand, Rodman caused all kinds of problems before fouling out. When Rodman got suspended for kicking the Timberwolves cameraman, David Stern gave him a stern warning to keep his antics under control. But Rodman was back to his pre-suspension form. He was pushing and usually shoving mild-mannered Atlanta Hawks center Dikembe Mutombo. It got so bad between the two that they were whistled for double technical fouls early in the game.
And as he goes to change, he catches them with that left elbow. All right, now here's the play right here. They're tangled up, and you can see Rodman grabs them. Now they bump.
He was irritating the easily annoyed Christian Laettner. It got so bad between those two that, at times, it looked like they were locked in some bizarre wrestling match.
He doesn't want him to help him off the floor. And so Dennis Rodman, who went at it with Dikembe Mutombo in the first half, going at it a bit now with Christian Laettner in the second.
Stern himself was there to see it all in person. Christian Laettner took everything Dennis Rodman could dish out: elbows, shoves, fouls. Chicago never found a way to handle Laettner, who scored 15 first-half points with 8 rebounds and 2 blocks. Then, when all else failed, Rodman was loosed. During the third quarter, Laettner and Rodman became entangled in a back-and-forth shoving match. Rodman initiated the ugliness by pushing Laettner to the floor midway through the period, then extended a peace offering by helping Laettner to his feet. Laettner responded with his own shove on the Bulls' next possession. Referee Bob Delaney finally took action 15 seconds later with the Hawks in possession. Laettner and Rodman again became entangled, and Delaney responded with a double foul. Atlanta coach Lenny Wilkins raged at what he perceived as a cop-out call.
Rodman went under Laettner's arm, hooked him, and as Laettner pushed back, Rodman flops.
Laettner is not taking any of it. Here's the earlier one a little while ago. Double foul called on Rodman and Laettner.
Rodman picked up an earlier technical foul for rough play with center Dikembe Mutombo. Rodman went until 3:15 and remained in the third quarter before picking up his first foul. The Hawks, specifically Laettner, decided to take their nemesis out of the game by directly attacking him. With the ball frequently in Laettner's hand, he tagged Rodman with his fourth and fifth fouls with 3 minutes left. At 2:08, Laettner brought the Hawks within 87-84. He finally erased Rodman with 36.1 seconds left, prompting the hyperkinetic forward to fling his arms skyward before taking his seat.
That will be Rodman's 6th foul. So a guy who's fouled out just 2 times in the last 6 years has fouled out of this game.
As a master of mind games, he acted like he was the one who got irritated by Laettner and Dikembe and said it was all the referee's fault. Mutombo thinks he owns that rim out there. I just kept telling him, give us a chance too. You're 7-2, and stop crying and play the game. This game stunk. You've got referees out there trying to control the game. I'm glad everybody paid to see the referees. Dennis reflected not only on what transpired in the game, but on what he and Stern discussed in that meeting before the All-Star game, the cameraman incident. It's all part of the game, and I saw David Stern up there. I remember telling him, David, no matter what you do or what you say, I'm going to play my game no matter what. There's no problem. It only seemed that way. For instance, During a particularly physical jostling session between Rodman and Mutombo, Jordan kept telling Rodman to relax. And when Laettner and Rodman were going at it in roughhouse fashion in the third quarter, leading to a double foul, Phil Jackson yelled at Luke Longley to get Rodman under control. Apparently, it was Longley's job to keep Rodman out of trouble, the new Jack Haley. And the Bulls were not worried about him snapping. When Dennis got fired up, the officials looked at him even harder. They were keeping an eye on him because of his reputation. So when he did that stuff, he just brought more attention to himself. Jordan didn't exactly want to be Rodman's peacemaker, but he was not worried about Rodman either. So when it became a physical game, he pushed the intensity up a little. Speaking of Michael Jordan, he had his moments too. Usually he beats you with a jumper. This time, Michael Jordan beat the Atlanta Hawks with a pair of free throws. Then did the most amazing thing with just over 8 seconds remaining. He beat Steve Smith into the lane, then shot a wide open 6-footer to clinch the victory and missed. Everyone in the arena was surprised because the shot was dead on. A field goal seemed inevitable, with Dikembe Mutombo opting to stay under the basket rather than come out and contest it. But Steve Smith refused to give in so easily. Having been beaten by a Jordan crossover move, he reached out with his right arm, and as Jordan went up for the shot, shoved MJ in his left hip.
And Michael Jordan is angry at Bob Delaney.
Yeah, well, he thought he got hit. The ball was definitely way short.
Referee Bob Delaney failed to make the call. MJ followed the official over to the press table and scolded him with NBA Commissioner David Stern seated about 25 feet away. Delaney kept his cool. Any other player in the league probably receives a technical. Dennis Rodman? He would have probably gotten 2 and the automatic ejection. Dennis Rodman jawed and jostled with Dikembe Mutombo, entangled and taunted Christian Laettner. Michael Jordan took Chicago's last shot and he missed. It didn't matter though, as the Bulls won anyway 89-88. No matter. The Bulls held on for the win, snapping the Hawks' 20-game home court win streak. And they won in typical fashion. Jordan hitting follow-away jumpers and drilling free throws. Dennis Rodman tapping rebounds loose for second and third shots. Tony Kukoc hitting three-pointers from the right corner. Scottie Pippen collecting 11 rebounds to offset his poor shooting. And the defense. Always the defense. The Bulls anticipated the Hawks would turn to Smith or Christian Laettner for the final shot and defended it well. Christian Laettner, whose college career at Duke included several dramatic game-winning shots, missed an open but hurried three-pointer at the buzzer. The game was well played, with a playoff-like intensity.